Now welcome. I beg, if you never subscribe to my channel, please subscribe. Click on that button. Click on the button. So today I'll be talking on fermentation. Now fermentations must have to start with glucose or amino acid or organic substrate or any other sugar. You must first undergo glycolysis. That's the lysis of glucose. That's the breaking down of glucose. If you don't know the full meaning or the pathways of glycolysis, you check my other video. I made a video on it. So this glycolysis ends up giving us pyruvate using glucose as a substrate, and this is the chemical formula for pyruvate. Okay, the chemical formula for pyruvate. Now after glycolysis producing pyruvate, what then happens to this pyruvate? What happens to this pyruvate? Okay, that's when fermentation comes in. Pyruvate might be used in the synthesis of lactic acid. Okay, and the process is called lactic fermentation. It's called lactic fermentation. But then since it only produces lactic acid only, we name it homolactic fermentation. Homo, that means one, as in only lactic. Okay, homolactic fermentation. Now what else can pyruvate undergo to give us another product? Since pyruvate is the common precursor for all the fermentation, now it can end up giving us lactic acid plus ethanol, then carbon dioxide. If you check the other one, we have only lactic acid. That is why I said it's called homolactic. But this one that produces lactic, ethanol, and CO2 is being called heterolactic fermentation. Hetero, that's a mixture of the acid, a mixture of lactic acid, ethanol, and CO2. And if you check the other that's the homolactic, it doesn't produce any gas. There is no CO2 there, and that is the major difference between the homolactic fermentation and the heterolactic fermentation. Now again, pyruvate can be used in the synthesis of only ethanol and CO2. Only ethanol and CO2. And the process is called alcohol fermentation. This occurs in yeast. Yeah, yeast. Alcohol fermentation. Okay, alcohol fermentation. And then it occurs in yeast. It's also used in making bread. Yes, even wine, beer. Then the other one, another channel we can use pyruvate in the synthesis of lactic acid, ethanol, acetic acid, succinate, then what again? Carbon dioxide and fomites. Yeah, and fomites. So you see, we have a mixture of gases here. It's not just only lactic or ethanol. We have also succinate, we have acetic acid, fomites. This is why it's called a mixed acid fermentation, meaning it produces mixed acid. It's not just one acid nor two, it produces many acids. So it's a mixed acid fermentation. I have to abbreviate the fermentation due to lack of space. Okay, so make I come back to Nigeria PG. All right, so you get another one where we say it also produce all this mixed acid. Then you go come add extra one other acid, which is a butanediol. So after synthesizing, it has the same product of the mixed acid. Like you can see me writing that's plus. That's all the product found in mixed acid, or the product of mixed acid. Now this MF na abbreviation meaning mixed acid fermentation. So all the products wey are mixed acid fermentation they give us, then plus butanediol. Okay, so this process, these products are being produced through pyruvate in the process called butanediol fermentation. No, na pardon my ink, okay, my marker. Butene diol fermentation. So you see say this pyruvate na one kind something like that, you fuse and synthesize a lot of things. More it just depend on the pathway wey you wan follow and the enzymes wey dey involve. You understand, the enzymes wey dey involve. So e get another pathway wey be say this pyruvate fit follow. We get butyric and propionic acid fermentation. Now under this propionic acid fermentation, e dey produce propionic acid, then plus CO2, then again e go come join body with acetic acid. Okay, then under this butyric fermentation, wetin dey give us, wetin this one wan give us now, wetin dey give us be say e go give us butyric acid, then come give us ethanol, come give us carbon dioxide, come give us butanol. Okay, so this na wetin pyruvate dey produce, depend on the pathway